Hello everybody, and welcome to America and the Bible, brand new channel that we've started on YouTube. And the reason for this video series that I'm going to be doing is I want to talk about specifically about America and the Bible, about how the Bible relates to America. Now, for years and years, if you would ask a prophecy scholar, prophecy teacher about America and the Bible, they would just say, well, they kind of shrug their shoulders and say, well, we just really can't find it. We can see in the Bible where God lists all these other nations, especially nations in the Middle East, and we can see things happening in those nations that are coming to pass, that have been prophesied. But when it comes to the United States, people just kind of shrug their shoulders and say, well, you know, we don't really know. I got to thinking here a while back, well, several years ago actually, as we look at things happening around our world and we see things developing closer and closer to end times and closer to the time of Revelation, the tribulation period, and the time of Ezekiel's war in Ezekiel 7:38. And we see those things happening, and I asked myself, okay, if we believe that the rapture is going to happen soon, we believe end times are going to happen soon, we believe all these things are going to happen that the Bible had prophesied, why in the world would God not mention the greatest superpower in the world at that particular time? And then I started studying some references in Revelation 17:18 and in Isaiah 47, Jeremiah 50:51, and I started asking the question, could this be speaking about the United States of America? Now, the thing to understand about prophecy is that it develops over time. It's very interesting. You know, 30% of the Bible is prophecy, and as we get closer to the end times, more things are revealed. In fact, in the book of Daniel, God told Daniel to write down what he'd seen. God gave him this great vision, told him to write it down. Daniel says to God, he says, but God, I don't understand it. And God said, Daniel, it's not for you to understand. He said, write it down and seal it up until the time of the end. I think about it like this. Several times I've driven from our home here in central Illinois to Colorado and out to the Rocky Mountains. And it's quite an experience driving across the flatlands of Kansas and eastern Colorado. You're driving along, you know, Kansas, where the state pole is, or state tree is a telephone pole, and you're driving along, and all of a sudden you start seeing up ahead, you start first seeing maybe some clouds over the mountains, and then you start just seeing this mountain range, and it's not very defined, but you can just see a mountain range. And as you get closer and closer and closer, more details develop, and you can see individual peaks, and you can see the tree line, and you can see all these different characteristics of all these mountains as you get closer and closer. Well, that's kind of the way prophecy is. As we get closer and closer to the time of the end, we're going to see things come into focus a lot better. And so the reason for this channel is I want to just give updates from time to time and talk about, okay, why should I care? Why does that matter to me here in the United States of America? And why should it matter? So, as I was looking at these prophecies about Mystery Babylon or Daughter Babylon that's spoken about in Revelation and Jeremiah and Isaiah and some other places, you know, for years and years, prophecy teachers have taught that, well, that's the Catholic Church. And granted, you can look at some of those aspects of that and say, well, it could be the Catholic Church. But if we look at all the criteria about this Mystery Babylon, you know, it describes her as a great world trader. The merchants of the world got wealthy trading with her, and it even lists the commodities that were traded with this particular nation or city. So we look at all that criteria, and that doesn't really make sense. Now, granted, you know, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, that might have made sense. Today, I don't think that really makes sense. Some have taught that, well, Babylon will be rebuilt in the end times, and you know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when Saddam Hussein was in power, he was starting to rebuild Babylon, the city of Babylon, which is in Iraq, just not too far from Baghdad. But today, Babylon mostly lays in ruins. There's not a whole lot there right now. Some have said, well, it's Islam. And it's Islam in their most holy city, Mecca, which, Mecca is in the middle of the desert. The Bible describes this place as a place of a lot of agriculture and so forth. And the only thing that Mecca exports is Islam and, oil from Saudi Arabia. So if we look at all the criteria, and I've got about 100 points that I'm going to be going through in subsequent videos of all the different criteria that this mystery Babylon has to correlate with in order to identify who it is. So when I started studying these things, I started asking the question, okay, could this be the United States of America? What I saw became crystal clear to me. And it also was horrifying. See, I think it's been there the whole time, and we didn't want to see it. We didn't want to believe it. There's also some good news in it. We'll get to that. We'll get to that good news. But this video is just a kind of an introduction. I'm going to be sharing some other videos. I'm going to keep them short and to the point, so you can go to these videos and you can get the information that you want. And but I've got a lot of information to share coming up. So please like and share these videos and subscribe to this channel so you'll get updates as we go along. God bless you. Have a great day.